As a policy initiative, the government has embarked upon a growth and development policy which is inclusive and socially balanced. Prime Minister Imran Khan says, "This is what the state of Medina was. This is the manifesto of the PTI government, leaving no one behind, ingrained in the philosophy of the Holy Prophet, peace be upon him." China has used this inclusive development goal model to lift 700 million people out of poverty. To keep the livelihood of the poor going, the government did not impose tough lockdown during COVID. Preparing commodity dashboard was an important instrument in ensuring the policy adoption and implementation.
हमने फैसला किया स्मार्ट लॉकडाउन्स का। हमने अपनी सप्लाई चेन्स इफेक्ट नहीं होने दी, हमने अपने एग्रीकल्चर को इफेक्ट नहीं होने दिया, हमने फिर कंस्ट्रक्शन खोल दिया ताकि शहरों में लोगों को नौकरियां मिलें। और इसलिए क्योंकि हमने अपने निचले तबके को सामने रख के फैसले किए, हम वो मुल्क हैं जिसने कोविड में से सबसे बेहतर तरीके से निकले। SDPI को ख़ास तौर पे उनका शुक्रिया अदा करता हूँ, हमारी मदद कर रहे हैं। ये जो उन्होंने डैशबोर्ड बनाया है जिसमें हम सारी कीमतें देखते हैं, ये जो हमारी प्राइस फ्लक्चुएशंस हैं, डिमांड और सप्लाई का इश्यूज़, तो उसके लिए इन्होंने हमारी मदद की है। एक कमोडिटीज़ का डैशबोर्ड जो बनाया है और जिससे हमें ये पहले से आगाह कर देते हैं कि किधर किस तरह के मसले आ रहे हैं।
The Finance Ministry has made a specific plan to achieve the goal of mainstreaming inclusive growth, adding to it the concept of sustainability. We need to plan growth targets which are based on savings, our savings at about 15 to 16%.
तो रूल ऑफ थंब ये है कि उसको 4 से डिवाइड कर दे तो वो सस्टेनेबल ग्रोथ हो जाती है। तो इसका मतलब हमारी सस्टेनेबल ग्रोथ इस वक्त तकरीबन 4% है। उससे ज्यादा जैसे हम ग्रो करने की कोशिश करते हैं तो हमारी इकोनॉमी ओवरहीट हो जाती है, हमें कर्जों की जरूरत पड़ती है और फिर हम जो है रन शॉर्ट ऑफ डिपॉजिट। दूसरा हमारा एक्सपोर्ट और इंपोर्ट जो है उसमें बहुत फर्क है।
Also, the difference between Pakistan's exports and imports is more than 10% of the GDP. So the imports are about 25% of the GDP, whereas exports are around 10%. Pakistan has worked poorly on export promotion. At times, they were rather regressed. In 2013, the exports were 25 billion, which regressed to 20 billion in 2017. The then government artificially kept the rupee floating higher. This also encouraged imports and further widened the current account deficit. The 15% gap of GDP is about $45 billion, translated at the current account. This converted Pakistan into a trading economy, making it necessary to seek the International Monetary Fund's support, which is coupled with low productivity and poor revenue growth. For a higher inclusive economic growth, tax to GDP ratio should be around 20%, which at the moment is about 11%. To achieve the target, the government is revamping FBR and the related tax machinery. Capturing retail trading into the tax bucket is one of the major targets. The government is also promoting agriculture so that Pakistan could become a net exporter of food commodities. Program for the transformation of agriculture is designed to look after the complete agriculture value chain. Power sector also needs to be reformed. Bad generation contracts bleed away revenue. Only this year, Pakistan needs to pay 850 billion rupees on account of capacity payment.
हमारा इनकम टैक्स 32% बढ़ गया। तो पहले इनकम टैक्स ज्यादा नहीं बढ़ा करता था, सेल्स टैक्स और कस्टम बढ़ जाता था, ये नहीं बढ़ता, लेकिन 32% आपका इनकम टैक्स बढ़ रहा है। उसका मतलब है इकोनॉमी बढ़ रही है। दूसरा जो आपकी जो बिजली है उसकी जो एक किस्म के जो खपत है वो 13% बढ़ी है पिछले साल से।
This needs good corporate governance, which now includes good social and good environmental governance as well. For that, ACCA has established the International Sustainability Standards Board to look at the picture holistically.
Let's set up whatever engagements we have to do in order to bring the Climate Change Ministry, the SECP, the Ministry of Finance, all the accounting bodies together so that we can start putting in the foundations of the architecture that went into establishing the Code of Corporate Governance, and then we can come up with codes of governance not only for financial viability, but for environmental viability as well as social viability.
The Securities and Exchange Commission of Pakistan is busy improving regulatory and business environment. Earlier, the Code of Corporate Governance was focused on creating suitable regulatory environment, which now gradually includes enabling business environment as well, that include gender inclusiveness and progress on corporate social responsibility as a good business practice. Now, environmental protection has gained importance due to the changing climate. It is also included in the UN Sustainable Development Goals.
The SDPI has been mandated to beneficially regulate, and to achieve it, it is imperative that we inculcate a regulatory environment that first and foremost stimulates good governance practices, secondly, encourages corporate social responsibilities, and thirdly, considers the environmental impact.
Pakistan evidently has tackled the COVID pandemic well. Improving economy and getting it out of the clutches of international establishment is paramount now. The external sector is pressing, but internally, economy is doing progress. This includes agriculture and the large-scale manufacturing.
In economy, there can be certain problems, but there are certain areas where we are working well. And I can say that instead of a V-shaped economy, perhaps we have a K-shaped economy. So some sectors, they are doing very well. Some sectors, they are not doing that better. And some sectors, perhaps they require a lot of boost to come to the level from where they can take off.
It is about time that Pakistan should get its act together. Only sustained economic growth over the next few decades can turn the table. Reforms should continue, but there should be no turning back on policy framework. With cameraman Hussain Zaidi, I am Aisha Ilyas for SDTV.